Hi, welcome to Spotlight on Bennington. I'm John Shanahan, the director of the Better Bennington Corporation, and this month we are filming at WBTN right here in the studio as we tape the morning show. I'm here this morning with Young No, who is a student at Mount Anthony Union High School. She's also an intern at the Better Bennington Corporation. Young, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and you're missing your first class, so you can
Which
be on
is
air
great.
with us. Good for you. We have a lot to tell you about Young later on. She's a very accomplished student at Mount Anthony, and next week you're on your way to Australia.
Australia, Sydney, Australia.
Good for you. So tell us more about that. There was an interesting twist about the events in Japan that had to make you change your trip. We're also here with Matt Warren, and Matt is with the Bennington, now I got, all I can think of is the experimental.
The Bennington Sport Flying Club.
Bennington Sport Flying Club. And I met Matt a couple years ago. Matt, right out of the Bennington Airport is where you fly out of.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
And you're also a pilot, a C-5 pilot.
I recently retired from the Air Force after 25 years. Yeah, and I'm the president of a local sport flying club. It's an EAA chapter, Experimental Aircraft Association, chapter 1375.
And it's interesting. You got to get up there sometime and meet with Matt. I actually went up with him in one of your ultralights a couple years ago. A lot of fun and some interesting stories. And I used to watch him fly out of Westover. He used to fly over my parents' house all the time in the C-5s. And those are gigantic planes.
Very, very sizable aircraft, yes.
Well, I can't wait to listen to you talk today. We're also here with Lexi, and Lexi's the production manager. I didn't even look at the titles.
Producer of the morning show.
Producer of the morning show. Lexi, thanks a lot for having us in here today. I know it's a little difficult arranging everything.
Quite all right, quite all right.
And then finally, and I don't know if the camera can get, but it's John Lakakis. He's the station manager at WBTN, and he's also the host of the morning show. John, thanks a lot for bringing us in and letting us come here this morning and try to work this thing out to see how it's going to go. This month we're taking you to WBTN for a couple of reasons. One, it's a part of our community and a project that's very close to my heart. As you might know, I sit on the board at WBTN. And this month is the fund drive for WBTN, so we thought we'd film here and bring it to the public to show you what it is that actually happens behind the scenes here, because it's a part of our community that we all really do count on, and we really should support it. Please keep in mind that you can send any donations and contributions, they're all tax deductible, to WBTN on Harwood Hill in Bennington. And even though our fund drive is winding down in April and this show is going to go the entire month, please show your support and help keep this station going.
This is the morning show on WBTN. Joining us in the studio, we got a full house going on here now, along with John Shanahan. He's got his intern, Young No. I hope I pronounced that right. Didn't mangle it too much. Good morning. And Matt Warren joins us as well.
Good morning.
Now, Matt, you're here with the, well, as part of the Bennington Sport Flying Club.
Yes, that is correct. Bennington Sport Flying. I'm the president of the Bennington Sport Flying Club, and we have about 30 members in our club. It's a group of aviation enthusiasts at the local Bennington Airport.
And you just recently retired from your other day job.
Yes, that took me away from home quite a bit, and I'm glad to be finished with that portion of my life. 25 years in the Air Force has been a very long and rewarding career, however very demanding on my time.
Yeah, well, driving C-5s and before that F-111s.
He takes them off the ground, actually. He flies them.
Yeah, we call driving them. You have to really push them hard and make them do their job well.
Well, that's what we give you a tiller for.
Right.
I was saying earlier, we used to watch them fly to Westover.
That's correct.
They don't look like they should move.
Westover Air Reserve Base in Massachusetts.
They look, as they're landing, like they're moving so slow because they're so gigantic.
I think it's a relative thing. They'll probably be doing 140 or 150 miles an hour, but because the airplane is so large, it just looks like it's going slow. It still has plenty of flying speed. It's a proportion thing.
Huge plane.
Bennington Sport Flying Club, that is an EAA.
EAA chapter 1375. We're nationally affiliated,
Now, for folks who don't know the aviation alphabet soup, what does EAA
that's
stand
the
for?
Experimental Aircraft Association, and among our 30 members we have a dozen or so experimental aircraft that members are building and flying in various stages of completion at this point.
Some more experimental than others.
Well, that's the beauty of it. By being experimental, they don't have all the rules and regulations of a certificated aircraft from the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. So we're a little more free with what we can develop, and we still have to have standards, of course, mechanical standards and flying standards, but we're not constrained by the rules and regulations of commercial aircraft, for example.
Now, for good or ill, for many lay people, the perception of folks who build aircraft is like the eccentric old guy who's building a sailboat in the basement.
Yeah, some of our members are quite eccentric, but that's all part of the fun, I would say.
And building your own airplane these days is way easier than it used to be.
There's a lot of technology available, and in fact a lot of the advances in aviation technology are made in the experimental arena because companies can produce, for example, an electronic ignition to be added on to a four-cylinder aircraft engine. Many of the advances are made that way, and the certified aircraft don't necessarily have the latest equipment yet, because it takes years to develop that and get all the bugs worked out of them, so to speak. And when they're finally certified, that technology comes along later. So I would say the cutting edge of aviation is done in the experimental world.
And nowadays, many of these kits are available in modularized, yes, I can speak, modularized form.
Yes, kit aircraft, and the instructions are very complete. There's a very methodical approach to assembling, much like a model airplane, just a bigger scale, complete aircraft with all the systems, fuel systems, electronic engines. Very exciting stuff, actually.
Years ago, I worked for the Aviation Consumer. And one of my fellow reporters interviewed Bill Schramm, the guy who invented the Rotorway Executive home-built helicopter.
Right, those are very popular helicopters. There's many of them flying now, and very high performance as well.
Well, his best comment for the interview was when he was asked how these things fared safety-wise. He said, what makes them so safe is the fact that 90% of them never get built.
So we do have some 2- and 4-seat airplanes available, and probably in August we'll be organizing an event, the second Saturday in August, where we can take young people up for rides, and occasionally a parent can go along as well. And so it's a free ride for 15 or 20 minutes for a person. And the idea is to give them their first airplane ride and hopefully plant a seed to get that person into aviation in the future.
Is there any thought, perhaps as an offshoot of this, of starting a Young Eagles chapter here?
Well, that is the Young Eagles program, actually. Our vice president is a very strong Young Eagles enthusiast, and his name is Ron James. He lives down in Massachusetts, but he's associated with our local Bennington airport here. So Ron heads up the Young Eagles program, and that is the program where initially it started out to get 1 million young people a ride in an aircraft, and we've far exceeded that now. I think we're in the 2 million plus range so far nationwide, as a nationwide organization, of giving young people their first airplane ride. So that's pretty exciting, actually, and that's been going on for over a decade. Harrison Ford was the national chairman of that program, so we're in good company when we provide this to the public. And these are in certified airplanes with a licensed pilot. Everything is done by the books according to the FAA. So this is a very safe and legitimate experience for a young person to have.
Well,
Yeah,
outside at this moment, 35 degrees. For the rest of this morning, we may have a snow or rain shower out there, but highs in the mid-40s, feel more spring-like. For tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the lower 20s. Yeah, sugar and weather is here. Now, you're interning with the BBC and other groups around town.
Yes, I have 3 other internships that I'm doing around town.
And who else are you interning with?
Mondays, I go to Better Bench Corporations.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, I go to Nemers. Wednesday, I go to, Finn and Stone Insurance Company. And on Thursdays, I go to the Superior Courthouse.
Wow. How do you keep up with all of that?
I don't know. I just like to keep myself busy. I'm pretty scared of what's going to happen next year. So I want to prepare myself and see what field I want to go into, because I don't want to waste money and major in something and switch.
Mm-hmm.
What are your interests?
What do I want to major in? I want to major in Business International and Business Communications. So that's why I'm going to Australia to see a school over there, University of Queensland.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a lot farther afield than I looked when I was going to college.
Yeah. And that's next week you're going, right?
Yep, in April.
On a Bennington this morning, which I think we've been doing most of the taping while we're on break. So we have Alicia Romack from Legacy Images here filming us, so I couldn't get up close to the mic because I was in the way of the camera, but now we're all set. But you're leaving for Queensland next week?
Yes, I am. After my Future Business Leaders of America competitive events up in Burlington.
Puts me in the spot too.
How did you get into the intern program?
Let's see. I started off with wanting one internship, which is at the Bennington College in the events planning. That took a while, and my teacher, Miss Ford, she motivated me to just apply to different ones instead of waiting for that one to get back. So, I don't know, something hit me one night, and I was like, why have one internships when I can have one every day of the week, so I can get a wide variety of businesses that I can intern at. So,
That's very ambitious of you.
yeah.
Now, is the intern program open to any student?
I don't, right now we're trying to work towards me getting credit for it, but it's just, I did it because I want to know what I want to do for the future. So I just went out there and did it by myself.
And how did you find out about it?
The internships? Well, I'm part of the Career Development Center, so I know that a lot of my friends do co-ops and also internships. So I didn't have that as a class, so I decided that I was going to create my own class after school. Just do internships for about 2 hours.
Well, that's one way around it. Make it yourself if it's not already there.
Yeah, you don't have to be in a class to have an internship or a co-op. You can get a career portfolio together and just call them, make an appointment, and say, yes, I want to learn more about your business. I want to further my knowledge about everything.
Now we're going to take you on a tour of WBTN, and we're going to start off here with Alan Shepard. Alan is the station technician for WBTN, and thanks for giving us a quick tour of the station today. We're starting off in a room you call
Studio 2.
Studio 2. What is that?
This is actually the control room. This is where most everything gets entered into the system. If you look over here, this computer here is kind of the main computer. This is all the shows, all the commercials, everything that's been edited in the next studio is brought over here, and this is where I assign it numbers, get it into the system, and then transfer it from here over to the main computer that you saw in the original studio.
And that's the one that actually goes on air.
That's the actual one that actually goes on air. This is the one, kind of the brains behind that one. That one's kind of dumb. All it does is play what we tell it to, and this is the machine, actually a program here, and we call TLC, Trim, Label, and Convert. That is the program that actually takes every file in the system, assigns it a number, because all our machine knows is a number. It knows I'm supposed to play this number after that number after that number after that number. And this is where we actually get everything in the system and give it all numbers.
So recorded in one room, created in one room, aired in the other room.
Right. Yep.
And this is Studio 2.
This is Studio 2.
And now we're going to go to the next room where we do the recording. And what is that room got a name?
It's actually Studio 3.
Studio 3. All right. All right, now we're in Studio 3, and I'm here again with John Lakakis, the station manager. John.
Lamentable, yes.
I know. Twice in one day, too. Studio 3, Alan told us this is where the recording of...
This is where we
It's
do
on.
almost all the commercials that you hear on WBTN get recorded right here in this studio. We have 2 mics so we can do 2 voices. Everything's done digitally because it's all now with computers.
Right.
We have software called Adobe Audition that acts to record what comes out of these mics and then edit the final product.
All right. So this is Studio 3 where all the recording gets done, and the reason we're showing you all of these studios is to show you just the beginning of all the equipment that it takes to keep this station up and running, which is one of the reasons where it's necessary for us to continue this fund drive. John, I said earlier, if somebody would like to become a member of WBTN, you just mail your check to WBTN.
407 Harwood Hill, Bennington, Vermont. Or you can donate online. We actually have the computer technology now for a website.
At the WBTN?
WBTNAM.org. Click on the donate button and PayPal will gladly transmit your funds to us.
Fantastic. And it's really important. I keep saying it over and over, but we rely on WBTN a lot more than we think we do. We like to listen to the shows. However, you know, what's the first thing you do when it starts to snow? You tune into WBTN to see what's going on. What's the first thing you do when there's a situation occurring in town? You turn on WBTN to listen to what the event is, how it's unfolding. John, thank you very much for letting us film today, the morning show, and for taking us on a tour of the studio. And I don't know if Alicia will have a little bit of time to do some shots, the other parts of the studio and the rest of the equipment.
We'll show her the bomb shelter.
Oh, that's right, there is a bomb shelter here, and that's so that when the big one hits, WBTN can still stay on the air, right? And
yep, it'll be us, the rats, and the roaches.
That's right. I'm going to stand at ground zero then, if that's the case. Well, thank you again for joining us for Spotlight on Bennington for the April edition. Again, I'm John Shanahan, the director of the Better Bennington Corporation. I'd like to thank John Lakakis, the station manager at WBTN, and also Nyung No, the student from Mount Anthony, the underachiever, I call her, Lexi Colville, Alan Shepard, and Matt Warren from the Bennington
Sport
Flying Club. See you next month. We're here in the bomb shelter at WBTN, which is a room that most people never get to see, including the staff here, because it's underground in the back of the station. This room here was created for emergency broadcasting, and it's set up and prepared to air emergency notices from underground in case of a national emergency. It actually has a whole different system than the radio normally operates, in that all the wires and everything are they're all underground cables, and so if we lose all transmission capabilities, we can still air here and be in communication with the rest of the world. Interesting little room. Praise God that it's never been used or never needed to be used, and hopefully it never is, but it's here just in case. And again, it's another one of those reasons why it takes so much effort and so much money to keep this radio station on the air.